Hi guys, it's Colette, and today I'll be taking you behind the scenes to show you my polish testing that led up to this splash water marble using OPI Color Paints polishes. And I kind of decided to re-record this intro from what I originally did. I'll leave that one in, but I thought I should actually include the manicure that resulted from all this testing, especially since I ended up using different colors than you'll see at the end of the video I thought I was going to use. If you'd like to see more polish testing and of course my usual nail art tutorials, be sure you're subscribed to my channel, My Simple Little Pleasures, and turn on those notifications. I hope you guys enjoy this look at the testing process. I always do some amount of testing before I do a water marble. Not always as much as this, but this is a really important step of the process that I don't usually record. So I'd love to hear what you guys think of it, and I hope you all enjoy. Hi guys, it's Colette, and today I'm going to be showing you my polish testing for a manicure that I don't know what it's called yet because I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing yet. And usually when I record a tutorial, I at least have a plan of what I want to say and I know where I'm going with the design. But since I'm just going to be basically testing polish, there might not be that much talking. I'll be sure to try and let you guys know what colors I'm using, and beyond that, we're just going to see how this goes. So for my first round of tests, I'm using some finger paints colors. This is Pop Art Purple, Ink Blot Blue, Silk Screen Green, To the Plinth Degree, Iconic Orange, and Pink Perspective. And I've used these before in a taped off kind of French tip mosaic design that I did. They're really nice neons that complement each other, but I'm not sure if trying to use all of them at once with this technique will be awesome or will just turn into kind of a messy, muddy mess. So I'm going to start out by, obviously I'm getting them all open right now. Then I'm just going to drip out some of each color and see how they work, all 6 together. Okay, so I tried to lay these out in pretty much Roy G. Biv order because obviously if you go ahead and mix orange and green together right off the bat, they're going to turn into kind of a messy situation. So now I'm going to start dripping them into the cup using the dotting tool to kind of scoop them up, and this is already turned into a little dry skin, so that's not awesome. Might need to, sometimes even when the water is clean and you're first starting out, it helps to kind of clean off the surface. You might have some dust in there or just weird stuff. So I'm just going to take a drop of the purple, spread that all out, and then pull that out of the cup. That should hopefully help these to spread out a little bit better. And then try again to drop this on here and see if we can get a little bit of a better spread. And this is still, is this not really spreading very great? And it was maybe not the best idea to start with these because I had already rejected the blue in my other design. And yeah, so far I'm going to call that a fail. I don't think I'm even going to, well, I'll see if I can do a couple more drops in here, but they're just not really spreading very well. And I'm not sure if it's because I'm using so many or just because they don't work very well. Yeah, sometimes I will go ahead and dip a test strip even in a design that I consider a failure, just so that I have kind of a record or a reminder of it. In this case, it's such a big failure, I'm not even going to dip that out. I'm going to go ahead and just pull that out, and I'll give this a try with a fewer color combination. I'll try just with the pink, the orange, and the yellow, and see if I can get a slightly better result. Try to help this spread along a little bit more by running around the edges. It's looking mostly orange in the cup. Yeah, I just don't feel like these are really... I mean, this might be an idea for like even another technique if you wanted to start doing like swirled drops in the dry section, but these particular neons are, as you guys can see, just drying too fast to marble properly with. So let's pull that out, and I originally was going to try a couple other color combinations with these, but at this point I'm just going to consider them all a fail and pull out some different colors. Okay, this next batch of colors are Zoya's. This is Mary Jane, which is kind of like a more of an indigo than a purple. Juvia, Evergreen, Urza, and Canna. And these are from the Ultra Brights, which does not have a yellow, so I dug out Pippa. So I'm going to try and see, I might just start with the pink, the orange, and the yellow on these, and then go from there. So these are not quite as bright as the finger paint, so I'm hoping they'll dry slower and spread a little better. And that's quite sheer in the water, but it is spreading better at least. Get a couple drops of this in here. It's like it doesn't, the swirled colors like act like they don't want to spread out as much. See, this is drying again. This is turning out to be more frustrated than I anticipated, which happens frequently. You guys just don't usually get to see. I'm going to give a try with the green, the blue, and the indigo. I kind of don't have high hopes on this. I might have to move away from my idea of neons just because they're not cooperating like I want them to. And I don't know that I have the patience to dig through my collection right now and find neons that dry slow enough to work with this. So I'll get just a little bit more of that out there. And swirl these together and drip. And these are actually spreading a little better, but they're so sheer. Wonder how that even is showing up on camera. Well, at least I'm having a little bit more success here than with the other colors. So, like I mentioned in the Color Splash Water Marble, my first one, I did kind of want to test and see how this looked with no lines or anything drawn through it. And so I have just my little folded piece of paper. You can use whatever kind of size paper you want. I usually fold it a couple times just because that makes it a little thicker, a little easier to work with. And there is the first attempt, and that actually turned out better than I anticipated. I think I will try that with a few additional drops. Now, the paper obviously is going to be wet, so make sure you have plenty of paper towels and stuff handy. I'm going to dot out just a few more drops of this so I can make sure I get nice big drips of color. And I should have been counting how many drops that other one was. I think it was like 5 or 6, so we'll go more toward maybe 8 or 9 with this. Mix and drip. Alright, that is about 10 drops. Didn't get excellent spread. And I think just to get a look, I'm going to draw one line through here. Ooh, it's a little sticky. That's maybe not a great idea. But I'm going to finish pulling it through like that. And the way I fold my paper, as you guys know from seeing them, I have 2 sides, so I'm going to dip the other side in. And, interesting. Kind of looks like a big old leaf. But, not exactly what I was initially thinking of. And in this case, I think I might actually like the first half better. As for drying the test strips, I usually will just take one of the plastic lids of my shoe boxes and let that dry like that. Then they dry nice and flat. I think I might play just a little bit with the colors that I used in the Color Splash manicure and see how much of this is the polish and how much of it is using only the splash instead of a solid color. So just to refresh you guys' memory, it's What's the Hatter with You, Mad for Madness Sake, and here we go, Fearlessly Alice. I knew these were still on my desktop, which if you guys would see, you would know is an absolute disaster 99% of the time. But I know these work, so I can use these as kind of a, what's the scientific term? Stable factor? That doesn't sound quite right. I don't know what I'm saying here. I'm just trying to find words to fill the space. But like I mentioned at the start, it's hard to say anything when I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so we know these work. I put out slightly less purple than the pink and blue because the pink and blue will mix into purple anyway. And I'm gonna dot out. See, these are working way better. I mean, this is the kind of thing where you instantly basically can see that these are far superior to the others. So I think that was the 5th or 6th drop. We'll call that 7, 8, 9, 10. Gosh, that's like looking really awesome. I like that. I've got another piece of paper ready to go. Just going to dip in there. Now you see on this one, I've still got some polish in the water. Try not to get that on your strip. I'm not usually as careful cleaning up as I am with a normal manicure. There we go. That's really cool. I like that. So I think I'll do one more test with those colors and do the same number of drips, but try and draw a little bit of a design in it. That's cool. Let's give this a little dip here. Oh yeah. Oh, hell yeah. That's great. So, again there, no design with a design. And yeah, that's really... Right now, I mean, since the other ones, like I mentioned, were basically fails, that's the front runner. But I'm not quite done yet. I kind of wanted to use some different colors. I know this would even be brighter than the one I did before, but I really wanted something that would really pop. So let me pull out a couple more polishes and we'll do a couple more tests. Okay, you guys. I have pulled out my OPI Color Paints. We have Pen and Pink, Magenta Muse, Chromatic Orange, primarily yellow, and then Landscape Artist, Turquoise Aesthetic, Indigo Motif, and Purple Perspective. I already know these colors marble well. I think 8 colors at once would be a bit much. So I'm going to do 2 tests. I'm going to do the first 4 colors together, kind of a warmer tone, and then I'm going to do the last 4 together, kind of a cooler tone. And I got myself a fresh lid here since I'd filled up the other one, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, here go the warm colors. And these are again spreading out fairly nicely. OPIs seem to work well for this technique so far. Because you really can't just go by brand for water marbling in general, let alone this type of water marbling. And I've once again forgotten to keep count of my rings, but I'm kind of just watching to see how they're spreading. It's also kind of harder to count them with this method than usual, but I'm just going until it seems like a goodly amount. And I think I'm going to draw on a pattern on just like half of this, so I can get a look at half with a pattern and half without. And I think this will be cool. I have also, nope, this isn't one of them. These look pretty good over white, like you see here. And for these colors, I think I actually like the non-design half better. These also come with a silver base, and on one of my other strips, I have a square of the silver painted, so we'll test that when we get to it. So I'm going to move on to the cooler toned 4 colors. And again with this one, I'm going to try and just draw on a design on like half of the cup, just so that I can get a quick comparison of the 2 different styles. And go ahead and dip in my strip. I kind of like that. I'm surprised the green turned out quite so yellowy in certain spots. But that's not too bad either. I'm not sure if I like all those together. It's a little bit... I see it a little bit muddy in some places, but like I said, that's kind of expected. And I know I said that doing all it together seemed like kind of much, but you know what? Since I have the two piles right next to each other here on my lid, I'm gonna just try and see what happens. They're already mixed up, so I really not sure what I expect from this, but mixing them up even further together. And you could use like a paintbrush for this if you didn't have an orange or have a dotting tool. But the dotting tool just seems to work okay for me. I can tell some of these are starting to dry a little. They're getting slightly gummy on the lid. And I can also see they're not spreading out quite as well in the cup. But let's go ahead and I'm not going to do any design on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and dip in my strip. It worked. I don't particularly care for that look. Probably 90% probably would have looked different if I'd have actually swirled them all together instead of trying to swirl two already swirled pieces, if that makes sense. I think I want to try, let's try the green, the turquoise, and the yellow. And get a look at how that looks together, because the green did turn out on the lighter side from what I expected, so the yellow should bring that up a little bit more. And I wonder if I should toss that indigo in there too. I think I will. So we'll do the yellow, the green, the turquoise, and the indigo. And just give those a mix and a drip. And this is so new to me. It's hard to know what makes a difference and what doesn't. Sometimes it seems like, you know, you're unexpectedly getting pops of colors that you thought would be more of a subtle accent. So like in the first one, the green showed up lighter than I anticipated. In this one, I'm actually getting more of the yellow than I thought. I thought it might just blend and be a different shade of green, since I'm using green and two blues also. So far, I like this a lot. This may be... my camera keeps cutting me off, but this may be my favorite of the bunch. So let's stop there for a minute. We'll do a little draw up and down, well, really more side to side here. And I'm gonna just draw in a few chevrons on this end. See how that turns out. This is starting to get a little dry at the edges, as you can see. And I'll just leave the rest of the end as it is. This is the section swatch strip that has some silver on it. So that's how I test my different base colors. And wow, those do show up quite vibrantly over the silver. You know, I almost think I prefer them just over a white. This almost makes them too metallic, if that makes sense. It takes away from the delicacy of the design. I think I want to play with that a little bit more. This is going to be the red, the pink, the purple, and the indigo. All right, that's really pretty. We'll do just a couple petals in here just to see. Petals, sorry, that's my notifications there. Petals and chevrons are always kind of my two go-to designs. They're more on the simple side. So let's go ahead and dip in here. Ooh, that's quite nice. I think I might need to test that with the silver base. So I'm just going to, if I put this right here, yeah, you guys can kind of see that. So, I mean, it's literally just a matter of painting on the paper. So, you know, you don't need to be neat about it at all. And let it dry for a minute, but it doesn't even have to be totally dry. By the time you do your design, it will have had more additional time to dry. So I'm just going to put out a few more drops of these colors and drip out another bullseye. Sorry, my battery died there. Obviously can't stop in the middle of a marble to change the battery, but there are the red, pink, purple, and indigo over a silver base versus over just a white base. And that turns out really, really nice and cool and metallic. Okay, so I have a few definite possible candidates, but I want to do just a little bit more testing. One of the most requested things people were asking for was to see it with holo. So I'm going to do 2 holo tests, again kind of a warm and a cool version. So we have Starlight, Starbright. This is obviously Color Club, Cosmic Fate, and Sidewalk Psychic. That's going to be my first test. And then Date with Destiny, Eternal Beauty, and Crystal Baller are going to be my second test. These holographic colors are from a couple different Halo Hues collections, and I know those marble well, which is why I reached for them. And so far, it's hard to tell what exactly we have going on here. It just looks very hollow and shiny in the water. I'm seeing some marbling on the lid here, but I'm thinking these may be too similar of colors to get a lot of difference in the cup. So let's see what we get when we dip this. I'm just going to, well, let's just draw one line through here. Whoa, starting to dry. Just for reference, and see what we get here. Yeah, that's quite light and very subtle. It works, but not, I would say, one of my favorites. So let's try those other 3. Also, just as a note, I don't think I've actually mentioned it, make sure you clean off your dotting tool as needed. You obviously don't want colors from the previous trial polluting your current trial. So I already can tell a little bit more of a difference with these in the water. As I'm looking, they're still quite subtle, I'd say. And might need a little bit more contrast, but I think they're going to show up better than that first set of colors. So I'm again just going to do one line as kind of a reference. It barely showed up in the other one, really. Go ahead and dip in, and I'd say that's a little bit more vibrant, still kind of on the subtle side. So hollows work. Hollows definitely do generally marble pretty well. There's always going to be the exception. But as far as for this technique, I think I would need more contrasty colors. And I don't know, I'm probably about partway through this other battery too, and if I actually want to record a tutorial, I better save myself some battery and get onto the manicure and stop testing. But that's just a little bit of a taste of what this looks like with holographic polish. I was going to be done with my testing, and then I decided to do just a couple more very similar color schemes. We'll see how these work out. The first one is going to be just glow stick and skinny dip, and I thought I had a green neon orly to go with them, and I can't find it. So I'm not sure if it's lost or if I just imagined it, but I think I can blend them to a green. And then the second one is going to be China Glaze Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, Towel Boy Toy, and Kiwi Colada. And although, as I think I mentioned earlier, generally neons do tend to dry on the faster side and are not ideal for marbling, I have marbled with all of these before, so I'm just gonna cross my fingers. Those worked not too bad. Gonna do just one line through here until it's starting to dry at the edges, but the middle is still workable. And go ahead and dip the strip of paper, and you can see here, this happens sometimes, the bullseye kind of folded over. Ooh, can I pull it apart? Maybe? No, not really. So obviously it's just a test strip. It's not a disaster like it would be for a manicure, and can still pretty much see on this side how it would have turned out. And those worked okay, I'll say. Not my favorite, but they did work. So let's go on to the other three. These are not... The first ring is really drawing super fast, which makes the other rings not spread very much. Let's give it one more try, but I don't think I'm going to have much luck with these. Yeah, these ones just are not cooperating spreading. So I've still got one half of a test strip left, so gotta find one more set of colors. Okay, one more try with these colors. These are Claire's Daisy, Freshwater, and Green Neon. And I really hope these work. I don't know why I'm so hooked on this idea of bright blue, green, and yellow, but that was what I really wanted when I first started testing this, and it seems like all the tests with those colors have been on the disappointing side, so hopefully this time I'll have some success. And the water is looking a little scummy, so I'm gonna go ahead and once I get this dotted out here, I'm gonna go ahead and clean that off like I did before with just a drop of polish and get it to spread out, cover that whole surface, and then pull it out. So, give those a mix and a dip. Well, they're spreading out better than the China Glaze ones. Not as well as the Orly ones. And they're looking very sheer also. You know, I don't think this is going to be worth putting on the test strip either. Boo! I had high hopes. Well, that's not going to work. So I guess I have to find one more set of colors. I really don't like leaving the test strip half full. I pulled out some more Orleys. Hopefully these will work. Have Mint Mojito, Royal Navy, and Hookup. So these are spreading. I was a little skeptical at first because they're 3 different finishes, which can complicate matter sometimes, but they're actually working fairly well. So I'm going to get a few last drops in here, put in just what I've been kind of calling a reference line, and go ahead and dip in there. Oh crap. Well, it's not a fail, but the colors are very murky, murkier than I prefer. So I think I'm going to have to keep looking and keep trying to find some other polishes if I want to do this blue, green, and yellow combination. And so right now I'm going to look at the colors that I really do prefer, pick one of those combinations, and work on the pattern. So I decided not to do any more design testing because whichever color combination I go with, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the flower pattern, and I've narrowed it down to these 2 options. These are the color paints, and these are the Alice in Wonderland colors, which I've already used in 2 marbles, so I feel like it would almost be cheating to use them for a 3rd time. But on the other hand, I really do like the way they look. I really like the way both these looked. And several of the other tests also came out promising, I'll say. Could use maybe a little bit of tweaking, but definitely promising. And there will be some more pictures of those at the very end of the video if you want a close-up look at those test strips. I'd really love to hear what you guys think of this whole behind-the-scenes polish testing video. If there's things you'd like to see more of, things you'd like to see less of, if you want to hear more talking, or rather rambling, or less talking, This style of video is kind of a work in progress because it's not something that I usually record. It's something that I usually just do while I'm watching TV or something else. But there will be more to come this month for Water Marble March. And if I get good feedback from you guys, maybe I'll continue it after this month also. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, be sure to subscribe if you're not already and hit that bell so that you are notified for all my new uploads. And as always, thanks for watching.